come to Lambeau, defeat the champions to become the champions.
He'll give it to Adrian, who sprints up the middle, lowers the head, second effort to the goal line, a top block touchdown.
He'll loop in, it's incomplete, take it down. Rise, Minnesota, get up and salute the Vikings right now. Intercept it.
Perfect 10-5, touchdown. Looks to throw, steps up, heaves it deep down the middle of the field.
It's incomplete. The Minnesota Vikings are NFC North champions.
We all remember that Week 17 game cost the Packers the division and a home game in the playoffs. Mike Zimmer is one of the rare few who have limited Aaron Rodgers' production. In 6 starts against Zimmer with the Bengals and the Vikings, of course, Rodgers has lower numbers in passing yards per game, yards per attempt, touchdowns per game, and passer rating while being sacked more frequently. Oh, Stephen A., does Zimmer have your boy's number?
Oh, please.
Did you just see that? Did you see that full screen?
That's just the ignorant thing for people to say. First of all, let's throw Cincinnati out the window. If you're playing against them continuously and he's the coordinator you're facing against, then that would be different. But the Cincinnati Bengals are in the AFC North. Green Bay's in the NFC North. There's only but so many times you're going to play against them. So lack of familiarity with a particular opponent, that's not something you throw into the equation in terms of who has your number. What we have to look at is what transpired since Zimmer has been the coach of the Minnesota Vikings. I recall Aaron Rodgers losing to them the last game of the regular season because only James Jones, he was the only receiver that ever showed up for the Green Bay Packers. Jordy Nelson was out all year injured. Randall Cobb, Richard Rodgers, and others simply could. Devontae Adams, throw him into the equation, wouldn't show up. And Eddie Lacy was fat last year and needed to lose weight, so he wasn't himself, even though he did have a 100-yard rushing game against the Vikings, and he's rushed for 100 yards in 4 to 6 meetings that he's going against the Minnesota Vikings. But let's take into account consideration when we talk about Aaron Rodgers going up against the Minnesota Vikings, whether it's Zimmer or anybody else. Since 2010, what is his record against them? 10-2. What about the completion of passes he's registered? 69.2% of his passes, 29 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. That sounds like a man has your number. I mean, spare me. It's nothing to even think about here. Now that Jordy Nelson is back, even though he wasn't sensational last week, 6 receptions for just 32 yards, just averaging like 5 yards a catch. Is far below what we expect from him. But when you think about a Richard Rodgers, when you think about a Randall Cobb, when you think about a Devontae Adams, when you think about the fact that Eddie Lacy is now in shape and expected to run the ball effectively, and you have your requisite weapons, we have to take that into consideration. We also have to remember that Aaron Rodgers was sacked just once last week, whereas when he went against the Vikings and he lost, he was sacked 5 times. So it was constant pressure, primarily because he was holding on to the ball, primarily because of his receivers' inability to get open. And so I don't anticipate that is going to be a problem. And more importantly, I think he's going to have more opportunities to wreak havoc because I think with a new quarterback in play and Sam Bradford, because I'm expecting him to be in there instead of some dude named Sean Hill, okay? The fact of the matter is I think that Green Bay's defense will be effective enough against Minnesota for Aaron Rodgers to get the ball more and have more opportunities to do damage. Minnesota's defense is really good. Zimmer is a damn good coach. But to say somebody has the number of that bad man, Aaron Rodgers, is utterly ludicrous. Nobody has the number of this dude right here because he's an absolute stud. The best in football as far as I'm concerned, and I anticipate that he will show it again this weekend. By the way, the game is indoors. It ain't in that no frozen temperatures of Minnesota like it was last year. This game is indoors. They're playing in the new stadium for the Minnesota Vikings, so no wind chill factors, no freezing temperatures, or all of that other stuff. These are going to be ideal conditions, which will work very, very well for somebody as lethal as that bad man known as Aaron Rodgers. I'm rolling with Green Bay, and Zimmer does not have his number because nobody has Aaron Rodgers' number.
All right. I'm ready to be ludicrous, but I'm going to stay on point. That's what you do in a debate. It's not whether or not Zimmer has the Packers' number, so I don't know why you're bringing up how many times the Packers have beaten the Vikings. It's about whether or not he has Aaron Rodgers' number. And Molly gave you the stats. We put them up on the screen. You called stats and I guess facts ignorant. Completion percentage down 6 points. Yards per game down. Yards per attempt down. Touchdown percentage down. Passer rating way down from 104 to 89 against Mike Zimmer. Now, you
omit last year
you,
and then give me the stat.
No, you got a lot of excuses for him. I've never seen so many excuses for somebody.
There's no excuse.
Lack
I don't
of
have to make an excuse for
familiarity,
somebody as great as him.
Lack of familiarity. You listed off all the weapons that Aaron Rodgers has been missing. You even listed the temperature in Minnesota as problems for Aaron Rodgers. That's
not a factor.
You're really going out of your way to explain some stats. I mean, you've reached
going
everything from the
way.
weather to his ball boy. You've grabbed everything to explain
Man,
away these numbers.
It's hard to walk outside in 5 to 10 degree below
16
temperatures, let alone play football. And then you're throwing a rock for crying out loud.
How many quarterbacks
Damn it,
come
it
into the
hurts.
Vikings? Do they all get the excuse or just Aaron Rodgers?
Say what?
Do all the quarterbacks that come to Minnesota get the excuse or just Aaron Rodgers?
When you talk about all the quarterbacks making an excuse.
Everybody that goes to Minnesota had to, under the old conditions, play under those conditions. I don't understand why Aaron Rodgers gets this big caveat for his numbers being down against Mike Zimmer.
Who was great against Minnesota? Who was great against Minnesota in those temperatures? Who? Who are they? Who are these people?
Is it the temperature, or which one are we going to focus on? The temperature or all the weapons around him that don't live up to their expectations?
Both. Because we're talking about Aaron Rodgers, a Super Bowl champion, universally recognized as the best quarterback in the game.
Don't forget lack of familiarity. Don't forget lack of familiarity, too. Yeah, all the excuses. Here's the problem with your Aaron Rodgers position, okay?
Go ahead.
You know, this morning you said to me something like this was blasphemy to consider that Mike Zimmer had Aaron Rodgers' number. I think it's blasphemy or sacrilege or something like that. Those were your words.
It's blasphemy. It's blasphemy.
There you go.
We'll go with that.
Thank you.
We'll go with that.
I like that, actually. I like it a lot because it has religious
like
connotations.
a lot of things I say.
It has religious connotations. You know, it reflects the opinion of someone who's veered off into the realm of faith, who stopped asking critical questions, who just believes in Aaron Rodgers and helps, in fact, make up excuses for him when it doesn't actually look on paper like Aaron Rodgers can play up to his level, his normal great level, against Mike Zimmer. And by the way, while we're at it, it isn't just against Mike Zimmer. I don't know if you've noticed this. It's hard when you're all in like this. But over the last 12 months, Aaron Rodgers in general have been down over the past year. Now, I'm sure you have
We know why.
I know. We're going to get to your excuses. But let's point it out. Again, completion percentage, 5 points down. Touchdown percentage down. Passer rating down again, big, 104 to 92. It looks to me, you said nobody has Aaron Rodgers' number. It looks to me like a lot of people have Aaron Rodgers' number.
That's your argument. That's your argument. That a lot of people...
I lay out stats. I lay out facts.
Okay,
you lay out excuses, and you say that's my argument. You know what the answer is?
Okay.
Yes, that's my argument.
I applaud you. Your argument sounds good. I'm very touched. It's a rare moment. I'll give that to you. It sounds good. Let's go with this, okay? Aaron Rodgers struggled last year. We all recognize that. We've all lamented how the Aaron Rodgers that we saw last year is not the Aaron Rodgers that we know. We said, what happened to Aaron Rodgers? We pointed to Eddie Lacy being overweight.
Here they come.
We pointed to Mike McCarthy not doing the play calling, which he was back to doing this year. Because I think it was John Gruden pointed that out and how he likes that. We also pointed out there was an absence of Jordy Nelson, who only happens to be an all-pro receiver, by the way, and Aaron Rodgers' #1 weapon. We talked about the development of Richard Rodgers because it wasn't there prior to last season, so you had to get that into the play. But anyway, let's just make this point. Aaron Rodgers had a down year last year. Fair enough, down year. 31 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, quarterback rating of 92, QBR of 64, 10-6 record, completing 60.7% of his passes. That was a down year for Aaron Rodgers.
The argument,
which tells you how great he is.
That may be.
Because a down year for him is at least a decent year for most quarterbacks in the NFL. And by the way, he threw for 3,821 yards. That's a down year for Aaron Rodgers.
That may be. And that would be a heck of an argument if I were out here arguing that Aaron Rodgers is trash or that Aaron Rodgers isn't even a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. You might have hit one over the fence if that's what I was saying. But what I'm saying is that it looks like Mike Zimmer has Aaron Rodgers' number. And layer on top of that Aaron Rodgers himself hasn't been playing up to his standards. But I just gave you 16 games.
And
what you come out with when you look at the
But
numbers,
I just gave you 16
and
games.
you look at Mike Zimmer as well. Yeah, you gave me 16, and then I layer on
So
top
you're
of that.
talking Mike Zimmer. I'm talking about a season because of what he was working with.
I feel
You're
like-
talking about one coordinator who happens to be a head coach now, got his number. I'm saying they don't have anything to do with one individual.
I feel like
it has
you're
everything to
arguing
do
for
with
me
what
now.
he had to work with last year.
Mike Zimmer's been coaching against Aaron Rodgers for longer than one season. These numbers reflect more than 2 games. These numbers reflect a career against Aaron Rodgers. What this all adds up to is a Vikings win, by the way. A team, by the way, that most people are sleeping on, with Adrian Peterson in one of the best defenses in the league, and Sam Bradford, hopefully, this Sunday playing.
I'll give you this. Your argument is successful enough in this respect. You've annoyed me with how ignorant it is to question the greatness of Aaron Rodgers that I'm tempted to have you back on. I will tell you that's work. That's getting to me. I'll give you that.
Now you know how I feel as a Cowboy fan. By the way, the Packers one of your teams, too?
Talk about Aaron Rodgers
the
with the quarterbacks you haven't
I
dealt.
can't tell. Are the Packers one of your teams, too?
Oh, did you hear that, Stephen A?
What'd he say? What'd he say?
Are the Packers one of your teams, too?
It's hard to tell.
I'm a Steelers fan, die hard, but I always root for the New York teams as well because I'm a native New Yorker. So I don't root against them unless they play against the Steelers. But I love my Steelers. I'm a die-hard Steelers fan. Don't think I'm a Green Bay fan.
Some people have one wife, some people have 3.
I love me Aaron Rodgers.
On that note, we will
Look at him.
You guys
Houston-
just made this
Houston and
game
Dallas?
even more intriguing for me, just so you know.
First Take is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places.
Going down the middle for the end zone. Touchdown, what a catch. Dwayne Harris, right side caught, sneak hit, and it's intercepted. Here come the Giants the other way. Jermaine McBride at the 20, at the 10, and he's in for the touchdown. Tied game with seconds to go. There's the placement. Kick is up, on its way, and it is good. The Saints have won it.
Can anyone say shootout? Drew Brees and Eli Manning combined for 13 touchdown passes in last season's Week 8 Saints win, which, according to Elias, is an NFL record. So who has the bigger game in the rematch on Sunday, Brees or Eli? Stephen A., you're up.
Oh, please. I mean, I think Brees will have the bigger game in terms of numbers, but it's not going to make any difference. The Saints are definitely going to lose this game. It's horrific. It's pathetic. It's awful as their defense has been over the last couple of years, thanks again to Rob Ryan. Look at this. 1 game into the season, they're already the 29th ranked defense. That's 3rd worst in the NFL. They're 2nd to last in yards allowed, giving up 486. They're 26th against the pass and dead last against the run. This is the Saints. Please, Giants win this game, but Brees is going to get his
Thank you for making my argument for me. That's why Eli's going to have the bigger day. This is how rational I am. There's nothing in me as the Cowboy fan that wants to give anything to Eli. He has to take it. By the way, Brees, good Austin, Texas guy. I want to give it to him. But the answer is Eli is going to have the bigger day. And here's why. This is embarrassing for the Saints. P.J. Williams will be in his 2nd start ever. The other cornerbacks are 2 undrafted rookies. I don't even know their names. 2 undrafted rookies. That, on top of having the worst defense you just pointed out, Eli is going to eat this up. Now he's got 3 receivers, Odell, Sterling Sharp. This is going to be a bloodbath. It was 1,000 yards last year. 1,000 yards combined last year. This is going to be Eli with the bigger day.
What I would like to say to you is I'm very, very proud of you, Will, because not only did you come on the show and make a good contribution today, but you're not shy about being taught and being given lessons. I mean, you admitted to the public and just sitting up there and talking about how you didn't know about the corners, you didn't even know their names. These are the reasons why I'm here for you.
Can you name them?
I'm proud of you. Well, who cares? Who cares?
Let me say something about this. The normal, very capable, very good host sitting here, Max Kellerman, has said several times, the great thing about debate is I'm right or I learned something. Most of the time I was right today. I'm glad you got to learn something.
You're brilliant because you know you're not. I'm proud of you.
You guys are so profound, just dropping knowledge on a Friday. Have a good weekend. See you Monday.